Hey guys, welcome to Precision Machine Shed. My name is Brett, and today I'm at the Shaper. And of course, today again, I'm doing a voiceover because I messed up. Alright, we're trying to fix a problem we had from the other day. We got our Bridgeport kind of getting going, ordered this R8 shank arbor, and they sent me a metric one instead of what was supposed to be a 7/16 Alright, and the issue we're running into here is I don't have the wedges to pull that thing back apart after I pressed it on with my arbor press ever so gently. What I have here is just a little piece of bar stock, and I'm gonna just cut a taper on there. Nothing fancy, nothing accurate by any means, but all we need is a taper on there to kind of squeeze those two pieces apart, and hopefully this will work for what I need it to work for. This was the beginning of my setup. I was trying to set this thing up to, cut our taper. As you can see, our workpiece is at an angle there. In about a minute, I probably figured out that probably not the best idea to be jamming that cutter right into the edge of a workpiece. Although it probably doesn't really even matter, but I guess you'd have a little more force on it being pushed out of the vise possibly at this angle versus I'm going to flip it around here in a minute and cut from the other direction and cut in from the shallow end to the deep end. At this point, I'm just setting up the stroke length, and the stroke length from the project I did before was actually pretty close. So all I needed to do was adjust the stroke position within that stroke length. So in order to do that, you unlock the ram and you crank it forward, and then your position of the ram is forward to where it was, but the stroke length is still the same. And I will crank it on here, and there we go. So our stroke length is pretty close to where it needs to be within, based on where that piece is sitting. The other thing you can see here is that I'm wearing an NASA shirt, and that completely qualifies me for absolutely nothing pertaining to machining. However, I did get that thing on sale, I'm pretty sure, somewhere once upon a time. As you can also see here, I'm wearing a huge face shield because those chips flying off that machine tend to go down your shirt, down your pants, into your socks, into your shoes, up your nose, into your hat. So it's all the time when I'm running this thing, I wear a face shield because I don't like hot, steamy hot, red hot chips falling on me, and especially on my face. The other thing you may notice here is I'm wearing gloves. Don't get me started. Okay? I turn turny things and I don't wear gloves. Turny things, no gloves. That's a rule. Although these would probably rip off, but no turny things and gloves. The reason I wear gloves in a lot of my videos is I'm a professional during the day, and this is a side gig, so I use my hands all the time, so it's a lot easier to keep them clean when I'm doing stuff like this if I wear gloves. Not that I don't mind getting them dirty, but it's just my day-to-day job. It's a lot nicer to have, I kind of need clean hands for what I do, so. And then at this point I flipped her around so we can gradually cut shallow then deep. I don't think it really matters with a piece this small, especially when you're not cutting super deep cuts. It probably didn't really matter one way or the other, but that's just what I did, so deal with it. Up to this point, I was running this thing probably around 16 to 30 strokes per minute, and I cranked her up to about 66 strokes per minute here just to speed things up, and the surface feet per minute's closer to what it actually should be versus going that slow. Clack, 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 clack. That's about all you're missing out on as a shaper, is the gentle, soft, soothing sounds of the ram going back and forth and the clapper box clapping. One thing you may also notice here, if you got a keen eye, is that I'm not quite level in the vise there, and I don't really care. It's it's a quick tool just to do something quick with it. So I'm just trying to shave off as much as I can, as quick as I can, and parallelism isn't a big concern to me right at this point. And here we are adjusting the parallelism, parallelism, yeah. Straightening it out, trying to straighten it out anyways. Make it look a little nicer. You know, just looking at this from this angle, it looks like a super duper nice finish. Wow. Although I decide to stop and probably screw it up here at some point in time, I'm sure. I'll just dump a little more oil on there, a little here, a little there. Alrighty, there we go. And that oil does a really good job of keeping those chips nice and hot, so when they fall on your skin, they burn you extra bad. And as we can see here, we're getting a nice curvature coming in on both sides. We'll have to fix that. I'll try and fix it. And here's where I'm actually trying to fix it. Okay, you got me. I'm trying to actually straighten it out a little bit. This is my cheap, quick, poor man's way without a sign plate to try and straighten this thing out. I have a sign plate. I have a really big sign plate, actually. A really nice one. I just never use it. All I'm trying to do is get the bar kind of flat. And at this point, I'm pretty sure I went crunch. I stepped on something. Ooh, I looked back. No! My old antique Gerstner and Sons tool chest. I have been rearranging my garage, and I happened to grab something out of it for my Bridgeport while I was working on it. And of all the times, I left the stupid thing open. And I stepped over and crunch. Ah. That's what happened. Not cool. I was the day was already going bad, and this just made it worse. The really frustrating thing about this, on top of it's broken, I spent probably about 15 hours on this thing a couple years ago repairing this exact same break on this tool chest. And you can kind of see a faint line across the bottom there. I repaired it once, and I spent so much time getting all the old glue and everything out of there because somebody tried to repair it before, and they did a horrible job. And the repair that I had done on it was actually a pretty good repair. It fit in there nicely. Everything worked perfectly, and you could barely see the repair that I did on it. So now I'm stuck doing that repair again, and I really don't look forward to it, although I kind of know how to go about it this time a little better. But oh boy, the one out of all the chests I have, it had to be this one, my favorite one. What a day. And so with my morale at an all-time low at this point in time after just destroying my tool chest, trying to straighten this thing back out in my vise. And this is more of a three-handed operation than a two-handed operation. As you can see, I don't quite get it perfect there, but it's gotta be close enough for government work. You know, on top of doing a extremely good job of making things flat, this machine is a very good smoke maker, as you can see. It's making smoke almost all the time when it's running. It's doing a really good job of it too. At this point, we're going to need to cut this material out so I can basically end up with a U shape in that thing, so I can wedge those two pieces apart. And what better way to take out a little bit of pent-up frustration from breaking my tool chest than the old hacksaw. Luckily, I did have a brand new blade here, so the thing actually cut. However, note of warning. Is that a phrase? Note of warning. One of the worst cuts I've ever gotten, and I've had a few, has been with a hacksaw, cutting a piece of steel in this direction. I had a piece in a vise, standing upright like that, and I was getting the blade going, starting to get it going, and I thought I had it, a little groove there. I gave her the old hee-ho, and I bounced that blade across the top of my workpiece onto the top of my curled up hand and proceeded to cut a nice size laceration in the side of my hand down to the bone and all the good stuff inside there. So be careful with these things. They can they can do some damage if you're not careful. And look at that, another unfinished project sitting there in the box, but we'll go on to the press here. And I have my wedge made up, finally. In order to get this thing apart, I needed to kind of prop things up, and the idea here was not to, hopefully not to have to press that hard to the point where it's going to bend anything, but just enough to kind of pop it loose. And ideally, yes, I understand I should have two opposing wedges that would send opposing forces in an equal and opposite direction onto each piece, but this is what I'm working with. Also, at this point, I pretty much realized that my slot is not deep enough and I don't have enough height on my wedge to separate these two pieces. So off to the drill press I go to crudely lengthen this slot out. And there we are. Look at that. That's a little embarrassing. I'll admit it. Okay. But it's got to work. I mean, it doesn't have to be pretty as long as it works. So I'm going to finagle my way into here. Yeah, oh yeah, she's going to work for sure. I know it. So I'll set all my stuff up here, get that thing in there, setting up my, not so, I wouldn't quite call it professional setup here, but I think it'll work. So we're going to just push and press and give her a gentle little nudge. And like that, I probably could have pulled the thing apart by hand because I didn't even... I'm frustrated, really frustrated at this point because it basically fell apart. Alright guys, I'm just using the video for filler here. It worked. Mission accomplished. Not pretty, but I cleaned it up later. Anyways, if you guys got something out of that, comment below. Give me a thumbs up because that helps. Check out my other videos. They're probably slightly more entertaining than this. I don't know. Till next time, stay safe on your machines and shoot safe. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.